That is Beyonce speaking at a rally in Houston, Texas for Kamala Harris. Before that, Kelly Rowland, her fellow Destiny's Child singer. And we've had a lot of people there tonight at the rally, Jessica Alba, some other people. But why are well, Paul Isaac is here, by the way.
Right.
Why
interrupting Beyonce.
Yes, interrupting Beyonce. Thank God we saw her. We thought she was going to come in DNC, and she didn't. But how are Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, why are they in Texas? That's not a swing state.
That's an interesting question. And a lot of people asking that question with things being so close into swing states. What is Kamala Harris doing in Texas? But I think it's about the message tonight, which is about women's rights and abortion's rights. That's what we're hearing the speakers. So I've been watching it through the evening. That's what we're hearing them talk about. And so I don't think this is about turning Texas blue, although I have to say that if there was a time, it's a very red state, but if there was a time that a Republican senator could lose his seat, this is the only state that people have an eye on. Ted Cruz, well beloved, and Colin Allred, who people do like a lot.
He was out there tonight, too.
Exactly. There is some thought whether he could pull an upset. We'll see. It's still Texas. But I think this is Harris trying to get her message out. Here's the thing that I think that this shines on tonight for us, which is this is not about changing minds. There's nobody who is watching this or sitting in that audience who said, you know, I was going to vote Trump, but now I've seen Beyonce, so I'm going for Kamala Harris. That's not what's happening. And anybody who thinks there's a bunch of undecided voters out there at this point, it just doesn't exist. This is about turnout.
Are you saying there are no undecided voters out there?
I'm not saying none, but I'm saying that there are not as many as some analysts would say that there are. What this is about tonight is getting the vote out, not just in Texas. This is being covered nationally. This is about getting people excited, just like Taylor Swift's endorsement, getting people to go to the polls. And what Taylor Swift did, get them to register and go to the polls.
You know what else has been covered nationally is the tone. I want to get your thoughts about the rhetoric that we're hearing. Harris, when asked, said, yes, Trump is a fascist. And then the House Speaker and Mitch McConnell both said those comments are inflammatory. What do you make of the tone of this as we're less than 2 weeks away?
Well, interesting for Mitch McConnell, who has a book coming out in which he calls Trump dumb and stupid. And, you know, so I mean,
no love lost.
Everybody seems to be, don't look at me or what I'm saying, but what you're saying, that's no good. Look, even Trump himself, the other day, Joe Biden said lock him up, and he pulled back from it immediately. He says, what I mean is lock him out of the political process. I think he realized, and I'm seeing even all these analysts on television saying that was horrible. He shouldn't have gone. Trump said, you know, he should be arrested for making a comment like that. This is somebody who's been talking about locking her up and locking them up. So the bottom line is, I think you have to ask the question, whether you love Trump or not, it's not about that, but is he and Harris, are they being held to two different standards? And I think fair enough, they are being held to different standards.
Why?
Well, I think because for Trump, what he says and how he approaches it has been around for 9 years, Micah, and the bottom line is nothing shocks anybody anymore.
But is it because she's a woman?
Well, you know what? She would probably
a black woman.
She would probably acknowledge that that's a piece of this, what's going on. But you know, we don't know. We don't have that data yet to know ultimately what that's going to be. But I do think it's part of people sort of holding her to a standard, which is tell us your program, tell us what you're going to do. She does, and it's never good enough. And then you flip it around, and on the Trump side, you're getting just some general philosophies, and people just seem to be okay with it. There's just different standards, and I put the media on the carpet for that as well, because they're not holding him to the same standards they hold her to.
Let's talk a little bit about local politics. Sure. Mike Madigan on trial. We heard from some of those the secret tapes and things like that. How is this going to affect it? And with the Lou Lang and the whole situation going on?
Well, how's it going to affect the election? Almost not at all.
No, not the election. How's it going to affect Mike Madigan's trial?
Well, I just did want to say, because even Republicans who should be working with it just this week finally had a press conference to start saying, see, there's this influence. That was my point. But how is this going to affect as the trial goes on? So right now, this week, it's been opening statements in the first few witnesses. There has been no evidence thus far about the bribery and about the racketeering, all the stuff he's being charged with. This has been a week of setting the ground. This trial's going to go on for 11, 12 weeks of saying he was masterfully powerful, anything he wanted. Lou Lang's testimony is they pushed me out, he wanted me gone, I stepped out. It's about his power. They're going to have to tie that to the notion of briberies and racketeering. I'm not even sure you need this piece to do all of that, but that's what they're doing, and that's what's happening now.
Just a few seconds left here. City of Chicago facing a lot of debt, $1 billion in a budget gap for next year. Yeah. Do you think we're going to see belt tightening, or do you think we're going to see property tax hikes or combination?
Look, the bottom line is the mayor said he's not going to raise property taxes. I don't know how he keeps to that position, but I think you're going to hear more discussion of a sales tax for doing different things and in different ways, which makes nobody happy. I don't think you can cut your way out of this one. So yes, he refinanced. He's doing some other things. I don't think you can cut your way, but how he finds a way to say I'm not breaking my promise, that remains to be seen.
What's on your show this week?
We're going to take a look at the Indiana governor's race. We actually have a significant audience in Indiana. So we've got both candidates, Democrat Jennifer McCormick, a Republican Mike Braun, who's currently a senator. They're going to be talking about that race much closer than one would think. And GOP analyst Patrick Finkston, who publishes the Illinois, he'll be in to talk about why Republicans don't really have a chance in Illinois.
All right. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, guys.